Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the podcast. I'm here with the one and only, you heard the intro already, Mr. Passport Heavy himself. Jabril is in the building. What's going on, bro?
All is good, man. Just happy to be alive. So many good things are happening, and I'm just excited to be here, man. I was just taking a look at some of the alumni that's been on here. I was like, yo, my man's out here working. So I'm just excited to share whatever I can to help people. And I love the name, Life After School. So, I'm just like, what happens after that stage? And so I'm just excited to be here.
Yeah, listen, man. I was excited to figure out that we could one connect, collaborate, and do this because so many people right now listening to this, they want to get to the level you're at and be able to travel the country, all those amazing things. But for my audience, right, one thing right now that they're doing, they do this all the time, is that they scroll immediately to the bottom of the show notes. They start clicking on links, and they're trying to figure out more about you. Take us back to like that young kid growing up, like the origin story. Where are you from?
So I'm actually born in London, England, yeah. Um, and so I was born in London, and then I grew up first 9 years of my life with like some amazing foster parents. I got lucky. My foster parents, I wouldn't be where I am today without them. And so that was like the first 9 years of my life, really, really shaped me in a way. And then my mom was ready, and then we moved from England, Southern England, from this place called Portsmouth to Chicago, and it was actually a culture shock for me, like a real big culture shock. Like never seen anything like it. I was like, "Whoa, we in America!" And my mom is like, "Yo, be careful. You know that boy just got shot there. Like, this is no England." Eh? Um, and so just like thrown into a different world, and then also the stability totally changed. So go from having my own room, playing soccer, in England 6 days a week, track and field, the whole thing. Like even like nationally kind of scouted as a youngin for like soccer. Um, and then, going into it's really like survival mode. My mom, you know, because my mom, she wanted to raise us. It's like if she didn't take us then, it's like when are we ever going to build the relationship? Um, and so that and like so I started to see what struggle really was, and I didn't like how we were living and how many quote unquote no's of can we do this, can I get this, and I was like, man, I think out of survival came my true hustling mentality, because back in like when I was with my foster parents, I didn't really, I mean, we weren't rich by any stretch of the imagination, but it wasn't like a true, like it wasn't like a big wanting. I was like I had for what I needed. So here it's like, I mean, the reality is my allowance was $3 a week. You
Mm.
know, I wasn't born in '65. You know, you know, we barely, it's not enough. I can't even get the big back with two apple pies, for the whole. And so I had to start figuring out how to earn more money legally. And so after a while, basically, I moved with my mom to my other uncle. So first when we was in Chicago, I was with my uncle, and then he already had a wife and three kids. So it was me, my brother, and my mom on a pull-out couch,
Mm.
and so that was, it was just tight quarters. You don't really understand it. It's like, yo, where's my room at? Like as a kid, like, because kids just say how they feel.
Hmm.
and, but then after you get to move with my other uncle, we had our own bedroom, and that was super dope. But like, and then after that, we left my uncle, and that was a bit of stability. But then things happened, and we had to go get our own place. And this one, I was like, okay, we really just don't have much. And but the thing that changed, I moved to the suburbs, and in the suburbs, like a place called like Arlington Heights, Illinois, a really good like school district where kids' parents are like professionals. Might be a dentist, they might be a lawyer, whatever. They might work just like a good job. And so I started to see go to some of my friends' house, and they just got a full fridge.
Mm.
Right? I'm like, oh snap! Like, oh yeah, just grab one of these little frozen pizzas. I was like, oh, they living different over here. And one of the big changing things for me is just at school, right? So I got free lunch, and seeing the kids, they just ask their parents, hey, man, like they're getting like $5, $10 a day for lunch. So they could get the lunch, or if they want some extra snacks or whatever. I was like, yo, these kids coming with $5, $10 a day for lunch. I'm like, I get three, and they get this is not even their weekend money. This is lunch budget.
Lunch money.
And so I had to figure out, I was like, I need some of that. And so I started to see where their wants and desires were. And at the time, it was like these Pokemons,
Mm.
like little action figures, and then also they had these other little toys and also candy. So at school, they didn't sell all the candies that they want. So that I don't. Some people know, but like Warhead, these candies called Warheads are like these sour joint. So I was like, I'd buy them, but then I'd be able to triple my money on
Mm.
one thing and on one pack. And I was like, okay, this is how I flip $1 to three. And for them, they happy, I'm happy, and that's how I fell in love with, making, buying low, selling high, engaging people. And that was like really what kicked it off. And like, that was like fourth grade or so, with that hustle. And then it went on to like, I was selling CDs in like junior high. So like I said, I'm 35. So this is a Napster, LimeWire,
Yeah.
kind of days. Music industry don't come for me, but
You was on Napster. You was getting your music off Napster.
yeah. And so like then I'm selling CDs for $5 a pop, and I'd make little intros. So I'd be like, "Yo, this CD for my dog," or this CD for Jackie, and I'd make an outro with my little mic. And so people would and I'd also like print out like a track list of whatever, because they would write down the songs
Hmm.
that they wanted, and I just
Yep.
put it together. Boom, five. And that's when I was like, okay, boom. And it's just been an ascension after that of just repeat. And that was a local vibe. And then as I got into my later teenage years, that's when I discovered the internet and eBay, and Pandora's box.
Game changing stuff. You know what's crazy about this? I want to kind of unpack it, right? Because a couple of things I think that tie into what you're doing now, that I want to talk about. One of those, when you think about buying, low and selling high, the common trait I find from some of the best marketers, and we talked about it prior to getting on the interview. I think you remind me, your thought process reminds me a lot of one of our alumni of the show, Seth Godin, who I think is one of the greatest marketers of all time. Some of the best marketers, they adapt early, like early off in a game, like in childhood. They just connect the dots quicker. They just realize, okay, I can do this with that and get this back. Like that takes a skill. That takes a uniqueness. When you realize that, right? What was one of the biggest lessons you learned? Right, you go from being the $3, $3 is all you got, to looking at these kids with $5 and $10, and now you're getting their money. Right? What was one of the biggest lessons you learned at that young age?
Um, I learned that it's supply and demand. Like and you just have to be willing to go out and get something. And then you also learn in trial and error, right? Like, okay, this is working a little bit better, or this is working a little bit. And then also there's this thing called, I'd say luck, but met with like preparation. So when I kicked off on eBay, one of the biggest things that I kind of stumbled upon it in a way is that, wow, the leverage of being able to access a worldwide audience. versus just my local neighborhood is mind-blowingly like dumb fast. And I was like, I didn't know how much money I could make in such a short period of time by just opening up products to a marketplace, also where there's not a lot of competition. And so this is, you're talking 2001 now, when I was kicking off on eBay. And so I was like, oh my God. And because there was a limited amount of sellers and eBay had so much traffic, the sales poured in. And another thing I figured out real young is that people love free shipping. That
Mm.
was one of the things that changed my whole world. And so I was like, hey, if y'all order four or more, you get free shipping. So people would literally buy four,
Yep.
but now the average order value is going way up. And they are like, man, I was like, okay, I'm buying these products. I was selling weight loss supplements at the time for $2 a bottle, right? And I was selling them for like 18. And
Mm.
so the margins where I was like, if you buy in four, I was like, hell yeah, I'm gonna give you free shipping. And one of the greatest lessons that I learned early on in life is that the internet is one of the greatest places in the world to be a black person. So, um,
Break that down. Break that down. Why is that? Because I don't want that bar to go over nobody's head.
so at that time, like I remember I applied to get even a job at a local grocery store. I didn't get it. This place, I won't even say the name. I still like it. And but what I was judged upon when I was running my online store was good products, the customer service, I'm replying right away, and are the products, being received in a timely manner. And so I wasn't judged based on the color of my skin, my age, or anything like that. They didn't know what color I was. And so it was just about performance. And it was one of the most liberating things for me is to realize I can be, because I was like, I know, like it's like if they were to come in the store and see this teenage, kid Afro FUBU sweater, they just, I mean, it's just what it is. Like, gonna have an instant different feel of what the aura of the store is, but because they didn't know, I'm just treated like everyone else, and the sky's the limit. And I think that's just one of the most beautiful things about the internet. And one of the flip sides as well, as the internet is matured and got bigger, I've even been able to grow some of the biggest brands actually leaning into
Mm.
the color of my skin, or my partners, and talking to demographics that have been neglected, because the internet enables you to really tap into specific niches, and it's actually more of a powerful thing. So there's like two flip sides to it.
Mm. Powerful, man. Let's break this down, because I mean, one, you gave away the game, man. As far as like being black online, they not knowing, but as long as you can provide those things, you're gonna be winning. So, great point you mentioned there. When I think about like what you're doing, right? You learn the skill set, and then I guess obviously, when you hear the words, and this is for my audience right now, when we all think about traveling, we think about escaping the job we're at, escaping the house that we're at, or the home that we're living in, the conditions we're living in, or escaping our environment and going somewhere else and just traveling. When you said as a young kid that you guys had that pull out bed and it was like three of you, for me, looking at your life and what you're doing now, like like was there a moment where you wanted to escape those conditions to be able to travel? Like what pushed you to that entire business of Passport Heavy?
Yeah. So the travel happened. So there's two different businesses that I have. I have like my marketing company and my financial education company with my amazing business partner Tiffany, the budgetista. um Traveling happened, so I was already working remotely already. And then the true love for passion came as, like, growing up in Chicago. I was in, so I took it was like a 1 2 week trip to Hawaii to visit my friends, and then I was about to come back. So it's February. Chicago is deadly cold,
Yeah.
deadly cold, and I was like, I was taking a run down the lagoons. I was in this place called Koalina, Hawaii,
Mm.
uh, and I was like, yo, my flight's in 3 hours. Why am I gonna go home? I actually logistically don't have to go home, but in my head, there was this thing of like, oh, I got to be responsible. Hey, I have to, do this. What's gonna happen to everything? Like, I was like, I can't just be in a different place. And at the time, this is 2010. So,
Wow.
like, even saying working online, people are like, "But what do you mean work online? That doesn't even." They're like, "But when do you go home to work?" I was like, no, no, no. I actually like I work from my computer, but they're like, it was such a foreign concept at the time that they couldn't even picture what that meant. Like, so for me, it was cold weather what inspired that first thing, and so it wasn't even a super deep thing of long. I was just like, yo, I don't have to have
Mm.
this much chapstick no more. I don't have to use as much lotion. I, I'm good. And then my friends were already traveling at the time, and they were on a 1 year trip around the world. And I was like, my friends, unstoppable family. And then I was like, what if I did a 1 year trip? What's the worst that could happen? And I was like, yo, there might be this life full of adventure,
Mm.
possibilities. I just said, what if? I'm like, I'm not conventional. What? I was like, I can easily always go back home, but what if? And now it's 11 years later, and I'm still traveling around the world. So it was just kind of a bit of leaping out on faith, and then I
Mm.
fell in love with seeing different people, the cultures, the food, the weather, and not knowing what every corner I looks like turning the corner. So when I'm at home, I kind of knew what was happening so much in routine, and so now I've fallen in love with like I don't actually know. I don't know everything that's happened. Oh, I'm gonna get my hair cut in this place. Like I love all of those different things. They were just intriguing for me. And then that's how as I started doing these little videos, like my little $200 camera, I was putting out videos on YouTube, and I was like, "What's it like to be maybe black in Thailand?" Or it's just what is cost of living in a place like Colombia, or and all these questions that I knew a lot of people had. I started putting out the videos, and I was getting hundreds of thousands of views on a single video back then
That's
just
crazy.
by myself. And so I said, okay, there's something here. And I was enjoying the comments, I was enjoying the feedback. And then more importantly, after time, enjoying the impact of the work
Mm.
that I was doing.
Man, that's powerful. That's tough, man. One thing I like about you is that, like you take people on a journey, though, right? So, like, yeah, you're Thailand, you go all these different places, but like you take them on a journey, like almost to the point where if you've never been to a certain place, you might go to that place after watching one of your videos. What I also pay attention to is like the way that you shoot content. And let's get into that because I think there's a strategy behind it because whether there's a pattern on your shirt, whether there's a certain background behind you, whether there's a certain angle of how they're holding the camera, like what would be, and this is for all of my creators right now that are listening, like what would be like some of your best tips on how we can shoot better content that resonates?
I well, two things, right? There's the visual, and then you're talking about what resonates. And I'm always thinking about what would my friends back home want to see?
Mm.
And then how would I talk to them? Because I see a lot of people um when they shoot, it's like and I realize not everyone has the luxury to do this, but I don't shoot for money. I don't make content for money. I actually, to this day, I pay to create the content, which sounds crazy. Like even I talk to people at YouTube, like some of the staff, they're like, "Wait, you don't actually make money from it?" They're like, "But you got." I was like, No, because I really care about the creative control of doing and narrating the stories that I want to do in the way that I want to do them. So I don't know if it's like the best advice. It's like because I have money from my other companies, I can afford to do that. And I mean, it's a multiple five-figure bill a month just to produce the content.
Mm.
Um, but I see and there's other things that come with it though. Like it's not like I don't receive anything. Um, I get to enter rooms that you can't buy your way into. I get to have generational impact on people and their families that will live for a lifetime. Like you said, people watch these videos now and they go to places. I read the comments every day. I mean, I was coming out the airport yesterday and homie's like, yo, you look familiar. He's like, passport heavy, right? I was like, yeah, right. And people have literally started like in going back to Thailand. I went there in 2011 for the first time. And then I saw four black people in like 4 months, right?
Wow.
I go back 2014 and I see about four black people a day, and three out of the four will come up to me and say, "Hey, you a big reason that I'm out here."
It's crazy.
And now in 2021, this whole black communities in Thailand, in Chiang Mai, and like these places. I'm not saying I'm responsible for everything, but it's like you go back and trace a lot of the origins. And so that's like my currency. My currency is the comments and the influence. And so now how do I shoot content that looks good? Is first of all, it's not me shooting. That's how you do it. Because me, I am like I can't. It's one of my biggest dreams to be able to shoot and edit like my filmmakers. So I have like professionals that I work with. I have a in-house composer that creates official scores for each video. Have producers that work on the episodes, the filmmakers, the editors. So it's a full-on production because I want these videos to live forever. And I was like, so that's how they look good, but how to make them resonate. I talk about topics that I want to know about, like that we truly care about, and it's really fun creating the episode. So it's never work, and I think people probably feel that as well. Like it's not like, oh my God, I need this influencer in my shit, or like I need to do
Mm.
this or that. It's just like this is my life. Like this is how I live. Like it's not an act. Like it's like basically just an extension of filming my life. Like, yo, and we film it. And so that's how I feel you make content that resonates. You tell stories that I was like, if people don't rock with it, and then some people won't, and some people will. And that's been the magic, is that I love the game. I
Mm.
love the game.
Man, you love the game. I can tell too, though. You're a student of the game, which I think is so important. I think people right now, right, they watch your videos, they see you traveling, they see you going to all these different places, and I want to ask you a kind of interesting question, right? We all think about what to take with us every time we go anywhere. Like if you had only 3 items, you can only pick 3 items to take with you anywhere in your travel bag. What would those 3 items be?
Man, my iPhone. My iPhone. Um, Probably. I gotta say headphones, man. Like
Mm.
headphones to listen to music, listen to podcasts. When I'm working out, going for a run. Um, and the third item, like what do I actually travel with? Man, it's like I don't know, my Amex card so I can do stuff.
Yeah, I like to play on that. You like, listen, I'm gonna take my phone, I'm gonna take my headphones, and if I take my card, I'm just gonna buy everything else I need. I like I like that. You played that smooth. I like that one, man. I want to like switch gears here because not only are you just like I feel like you got multiple things that you're just like really good at, and the world just needs to know about it. But you said something on a podcast, and I definitely want to bring it up because I think a lot of people listening to this right now, they see the skill set you have in marketing, they see the skill set you have in business, and they probably say, "Hey, I want Jubril to help me with my brand. I want him to help me with my marketing." But you said, I wrote this down, like you're confident about your ability in a projects that you are a part of, or projects that you would take on. And you talk a lot about ownership and ownership being important. So in this other interview, you said that in order for you to take a project seriously, you would need at least bare minimum 30% ownership. When you think about that statement takes confidence. Like where do you get that confidence from?
Track record.
Tell them.
Like, I mean, humbly speaking, yeah, it's just, I know, yeah, I just know the value that I bring to a situation. I like, and how to see bigger pictures in situations, and yeah, just numbers on the board, really. And so over time, I was like, for me to be fully vested in something, that's why people are like, oh man, I got this amazing client. They have $100,000 a month budget. I was like, it's not what moves me. What moves me is like I want to enjoy what I'm doing, but also I was like, if I'm investing today, if I'm investing my time, the work that I'm doing doesn't just pay off today. I was like, that has a real residual effect, and so it's like I want to make sure that I'm in a position to reap those benefits. Or it's like I don't want to do it. Even man, even affiliates, I give people advice, man. It's like uh, you don't get you don't get what you deserve in life. You get what you negotiate. Um, and so there's companies out here, man. A lot of times it could be like an affiliate deal. So like in the financial space, I won't say the names of the companies, but like a lot of times, we could be number one, two, putting up six figures a month in affiliate income, especially for some of these companies that if they've raised money, um, I know the value that I hold to that company, right? So you're telling me if I'm the number one or two affiliate, and you're talking about we could be producing 10, 20%, 30 sometimes of your revenue. I'm like, you think I just want money on the affiliate? I was like, no, because the more users that we bring it into the system, that means your valuation is also going up.
Mm.
All of the things that are happening on the back end. And I'm like, the hell? They're like, but nobody's ever asked. I was like, well, the hell I am. Like, because
Yeah.
I'm like, and then so like, and then like, I remember talking to like people in leadership team, and they're like, "Yo, man, that's not how shit works. It'll never happen." I'm like, "All right." I pull the plug then,
Yeah.
and in like the most respectful way possible. But it's like and then when you lay it out, I'm just like, "Yo, I'm not telling you I need," and it's not like a 30% thing or anything like that. I was like, "Yo, if we play in this, like, let's look at this equity play, especially like if there's some of these younger companies that be like, but we've never." I was like, "Yo." This is the value in black and white that's coming. And then if you want me to be more excited and continue to build, like I need to feel like this work that I'm doing is not just because when I see your valuation here 4 years from now, it's not gonna be like, I'm not just gonna be like, oh yeah, good job. I was like, yeah, but we actually helped build a lot of that. And
Mm.
that happened from experience. Like we helped build this other company, I won't say the name, and it's like drove so much traffic. And then it was like also a lot happened from the influence of our core audience that came in, the people that came in there, and then on top of that, now it spawned, and then they're talking about it. So those sales are not being tracked, right?
Mm.
So now it's spawning, and I was like, how do I protect myself from that? And it's like I need equity play, and so that's what I go into situations with, and like now it's like it's worked out. Like one of the companies that like people like, oh, I never, like, don't even ask. one of these deals 4 years ago, maybe even 5 years, 4 or 5 years ago, companies cranking, cranking, and like that equity stake. I think it's at least 100x now,
Mm.
and they just raised another $100 million for their company. And I'm just like, yes, right. And so I tell people, if you know what you're worth, because it's like if you feel it in your gut, and also sometimes people don't know how to approach it, or like they've never even heard this kind of approach where it's like,
Mm.
and so I've always just been like, no, if they are operating in that sense and we're bringing the value, let's try and figure something. Some it doesn't always work out. Sometimes they're like, no, but it never hurts, to ask.
Man, that's real. I'm so glad that I asked that question because most importantly, the answer was epic. Because at the end of the day, like what's your value? What's your track record? Like what have you done in the past to ask for more and just being confident in it? I want to ask you the question that we've asked every single person that's ever been on this show, that's ever hopped on this podcast. If you were that person who just graduated college, or perhaps you ain't even go to
Yeah.
school, you ain't even get a degree at all, you're asking yourself the question of the show: school's over, now what? What advice would Jabril give?
Man, it's a beautiful question. I'll answer it in two parts. I do feel um, I feel jobs. I'm a big advocate of working jobs, but working jobs with a purpose, right? So if you know where you want to go, and you can actually go work for someone that you admire, or if you're in the industry that you want to be in, not only can you get quote unquote mentored and learn in that space for free, um, grab connections and relationships in that space and field
Mm.
that you want to be. So don't always think, oh, maybe I'm not making enough to, if you have to quote unquote take a paycheck, especially if you have a long-term plan in mind. Because that could really alter, the trajectory of your life if you get in with the right situation. So don't be like all this, on social media, everyone's, oh, I'm a boss, I'm the CEO, da 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 da. But the reality is, the internet is not always reality. And then, like, and it's also a lot of perception, right? You might see CEO of this and, everyone's bios, but the reality is most people collect, a paycheck, they get a W-2.
Mm.
And so, the perception versus reality. So it's like, don't be afraid to do that. And like, if you have a plan, and then next is, it might be cliche advice of, take all the risk that you can take early on, because you have an opportunity to recover. So if you're going to go the opposite route and you're like, I just want to go head first, do that. And then I tell people, and also one of the things that's really helped too is like a delayed gratification, because so many times, we want to spend, especially in this Instagram lifestyle. People might even see my life and they're like, nah, it's like, but there's still a lot of things that I want to do that I hold off on, because I was like,
Mm.
I want to, we invest back into our businesses, right? And this is other advice: don't really fall for that social pressure to be, because you also don't know what it looks like behind the scenes for a lot of people. Things that might look great if you actually see what it looks like behind the scenes for some people that are over leveraged, it's a lot of stress. And so don't fall. And then you also have, once you start going that route, it's like you have to live up to that level, where some people that look like they're not moving as fast, you'll see like, oh my god, how did they actually move so fast? Because they've built such a strong foundation in what it is that they're doing. So like, for some of our companies, we didn't take a single profit for like 2 3 years. We just kept reinvesting, back into the business. And like, so that's like leaving school. And then the other thing is, if you have the opportunity to travel and see some of the world, because chase happiness, chase happiness, because that is something that will never ever fail you. I see too many people just chasing the money, and but if you set yourself up for chasing freedom, more so lifestyle and quality relationships. This is like you'll sustain a happy life. Versus it's not my goal to be the richest or have that. Like it's like I don't want to be, but it's really not. I'm just like, because like you'll see your happiness filter only grows incrementally. I'd say after, like, I think from 30 to like 100 grand, it'll grow exponentially, like that, like your happiness with money. But like the difference between, like, maybe like 150, 400 grand, it's like what changes from like the fucking, I don't know, from the E class and now you get the S class Benz. You're staying in a 4-star, 5-star, but it's like the exponential jump in happiness. And so I say, and the reason I say don't chase the money, more so just stability, a lifestyle, the fun. Like, because I'll never lie to you and say money is not important, but it's always like that hamster wheel if you don't have the right foundations. And that's how I stay happy. It's just that I'm like, yo, time freedom of what I want to do. I have enough money to do what I want. My family's good, and nobody can tell me shit.
Yeah, that's how you get on the podcast. Absolutely crush it. Listen, man, that's so powerful, right? You heard it from him, right? Don't underestimate the value of a job. As soon as you said that, it just resonated with me. One of the main things I do is I help brand a lot of people, whether it's to start a podcast or brand them in marketing. And prior to doing all of this, I was, a brand manager over Target, over Macy's, and all these different companies before I went full time and chased entrepreneurship. So I really appreciated that answer. But most importantly, like you got to run your own race, like you said, right? The comparison can be something, but always chase happiness over money. Listen, fam, it's been incredible having you on the show. And I know somebody right now, they want to know more about you. Like, just give us, all of your contact. Where can we find you?
Man, first of all, I just want to say thank you so much for the platform, the energy, and yeah, just having the ability to share. So I just want to say thank you. I want to honor you because you have such an incredible thing going on here. I saw, like I said, the alumni, like, damn, okay. Like, thank you.
Appreciate
I'm humbled. And for me, Passport Heavy, that's across pretty much like all channels. YouTube is like where we really rock out. So like the word, like a passport, a travel document, and then the weight heavy, so Passport Heavy. And then my personal page where I hang out a lot, probably too much when I look at my time, is Instagram. And that's just my name. So Jubril, Jubril, and then the number 8. I'm always hanging out on there. So if you have a question, you ever want advice, like one of the things I'm always doing is like when I get time, I literally just pick up my phone and I'll send people back like a video message. I'll send them, whatever if I have time. And as long as the question is good, like, I'll do my best to, reply.
Listen, man, I appreciate you. Absolutely, got on the show and crushed it today. For those of you that have been listening, always remember, dream it, believe it, go out and get it. Hey, what's up, fam? Thanks for watching. Don't forget, hit that subscribe button, smash that like button. We'll see you next week here at School's Over Now What. And always remember, dream it, believe it, go out and get it.